Local Justice, presented by Elrod Pope Law Firm, serving our community since 1980. Here's your host, Attorney Ben Leader.
Welcome to Local Justice. Today we're honored to sit down with someone who has been a lifelong public servant and who has dedicated the last 36 plus years to keeping our community safe. From his time as a patrol officer to leading tactical law enforcement teams like the SWAT team and the bomb squad, to now being the top ranking officer in the City of Rock Hill Police Department. Please help me in welcoming Chief of Police Chris Watts to the show today.
Thank you.
Chief, thanks for being with us.
Glad to be here. No, thank you.
We appreciate your time and appreciate you joining us. Let's dive right in and get started. Why don't you tell us a little bit about where you grew up and what your background is and kind of what led you to the path of law enforcement?
So I grew up in Rock Hill. I was born in Charleston, but grew up in Rock Hill and always had a desire to do something in, now I didn't think of it this way, but kind of public safety. So as I was getting in high school, I wanted to be paramedic, firefighter. I never went down the firefighting path, but I ended up becoming an EMT to start with. I was working with Rock Hill, volunteering with Rock Hill Rescue Squad for many years, in the 80s now, this was some time back. And then ended up going full-time with Piedmont EMS. And I worked there for a number of years. But there was 4 or 5 part-time EMTs, and it were more than that, but there were 4 or 5 from the police department. And riding with them, getting to know them, and they were kind of like, hey, you ought to be a police officer. Again, I never had a desire to be a police officer, but hey, that's maybe a cool job. So after some time, I applied with Rock Hill, and then I'm still here.
That's right. Would that have been 1988 when you
That
first
would have
joined?
been 1988. That's exactly right.
All right. So we're coming up on the 4-decade mark here soon.
Yeah. So in July, the latter part of July, it'd be 37 years. Total.
Wow. And since starting here in 1988, I think you've worked just about every role that the department has had through the years.
I've been very fortunate to actually do that. So I've spent time in kind of a special operations unit, just doing warrants and some of the street crime level investigations, worked in narcotics, worked as a detective, and then ended up in administration, which actually helped there for a while of ending up being the chief. So I wasn't really happy when I got moved to administration, but looking back on it, obviously it was helpful to get this point. But I was always very fortunate to get to work in the different units. I worked in the traffic, but 10 years on the SWAT team as a team, and ended up the last 4 being a team leader, and then fortunate enough to be supported. I believe it was Chief Fortson at the time, to create the bomb squad, something I had an interest in, and then commanded it. We needed 2 techs, and we actually had a guy that was a Navy EOD diver that we hired. So anyway, we got the bomb squad started, so I was involved in the kind of the special operations too, which I really enjoyed.
That's great, and I know you love your role as Chief of Police, but out of all the roles you've done through the years, what did you find the most exciting and the most interesting?
Narcotics.
Narcotics?
Yeah, that's just a really good job. If you like that type of work.
That's right.
Everybody likes it, but that was a fun job.
And I know y'all still work heavily in conjunction with the multi-jurisdictional drug enforcement unit. Could you tell the viewers a little bit about what that is and who all is involved in coming together?
Absolutely. The York County Multi-Jurisdictional Drug Enforcement Unit was created, I think, back in 1998. Sheriff Bryant, Chief Fortson was a part of that, and all the other chiefs in the other municipalities. And it was, drugs are everywhere, and you find them going back and forth in jurisdiction. So all of the municipalities, 5 municipalities, the Sheriff's Office, the York County Solicitor's Office, and even Winthrop Police Department is a part of it. And we all work together and all put different number of agents or investigators on that, which is helpful that, again, we're all communicating. It's an opportunity also for all of us to come together once a month. It's hard to get chiefs and sheriffs and solicitors all together, but we make a point to meet once a month to talk about issues, not only drugs, but other issues. So having that time together is valuable, but all working together, looking at from a drug enforcement side, from the local level, and we're also working with the federal agencies. And the other good thing, it is a force multiplier if we have significant crime or another jurisdiction, those guys come in and help as an extra hand, which is beneficial to all of us.
Absolutely, and being an attorney, we deal with a lot of jurisdictional issues from time to time, and I know that, you know, the state line can be a huge, you know,
Right.
problem in terms of trafficking, and but I don't think a lot of people think about, you know, even the county line, you know, used to be a way that people could evade,
Right.
you know, law enforcement efforts, and now y'all collaborate together and can keep a much better pulse on the local community.
And that goes from the local of collaboration, but it also goes with the state. And as you said, on the state line, with CMPD as well as our federal partners, both in South Carolina and in North Carolina, we're able to work closely with them, which really helps kind of get the bad guy and do good investigations, where if we didn't have these relationships, it would be much more difficult to follow an investigation or follow a crime in the different jurisdictions.
Absolutely. And I know that community trust has been a major focus of yours throughout your tenure as chief. And how do you feel like y'all have done in terms of building trust within our community?
So I'll say good. I'd rather the community to go past that. But I think we do have a good relationship, but we have to work at it. But it's not just us. It's really the community has to meet us also. If we work really hard and try to do all the right things, and if they don't meet us, then it's not worth it. I mean, it's not worth it, it's not the right word, but you don't get anywhere. And if we didn't care and the community was trying to develop that relationship, it wouldn't work either. So again, it's kind of a cultural thing for us that we do care about the community, and we want to meet them and again provide the services we want. I'm very fortunate the men and women of Rock Hill buy into that. That's what they believe when they go out. We don't always get it right. However, that's what we're trying to accomplish with the mission, is develop and cultivate those community relationships. And that is vitally important, especially in 2025. Not so much in 1988, but especially in 2025. And that's the right way to police, is have that partnership. We need information from the public. And so that's all about building the trust. I've said to other people, it's kind of like a marriage. If you don't pay attention to the marriage, it goes south.
Right.
And not in short order sometimes. And it's the same thing with police-community relations. If we don't put a focus on that and an emphasis on that, as well as the community to us, then it can go bad really quickly. So it's not something that you do once a year. Hey, we're going to do National Night Out. It's something you do every day. Every traffic stop plays a part in that. Every phone call that comes in to the police department, and how we treat people and how we provide information matters. So that's important.
It's truly earned, and it doesn't just organically
That's exactly
occur.
right.
Well, thank you so much, Chief Watts. We're going to take a brief break from our sponsors here for a moment, and we'll return to local justice in just a minute. Thank you.
As soon as I contacted Elrod Pope, they handled everything. Without Elrod Pope's help, I'd have been paying hospital bills for years to come. Elrod Pope just took the stress and they put it on their table and took it off mine.
Coming to Elrod Pope, I didn't have to worry about anything. Everything was taken care of. It put me in a real calm state because I had someone on my side. I knew that I was in the right hands. It felt great.
We know the type. You like to start early, finish late, make lemon squares, and make payments to the college fund from anywhere in the house. We know you rely on Comporium for the things you rely on most, like a view of the backyard. That's just a bunny, and hundreds of channels to watch, whenever you want. So you may think of us as just your internet company, but we're more like the I didn't know they could do all that company. Comporium, always ready.
Coke Zero is now Coke Zero Sugar, with great Coke taste. Some people were excited to hear the news, some were skeptical. So we're not going to have the star of the show you're watching come out and say, "You'll love it." No special jingle written by this week's hottest pop star. No famous internet celebs who happen to be holding the label just so. Okay, maybe just one little pour shot. The only thing that will make you believe Coke Zero Sugar has great Coke taste is trying it yourself. Ice cold Coke Zero Sugar. Try one today.
Being there for someone in their time of need is what Green Funeral Home has done compassionately for 4 generations. It's a privilege we take very seriously.
We believe each life should be honored and remembered by family and friends. Whether you choose traditional burial in our chapel or another venue, or cremation provided by our on-site crematory, we will help guide you through each step to ensure your needs are met.
We are also available to discuss pre-planning. Peace of mind that you have helped your loved one by making those difficult decisions.
When the need arises, our family is here for your family.
Welcome back to Local Justice. We're here with Rock Hill City Chief of Police, Chris Watts. Chief Watts, thanks again for joining us today.
Glad to be here.
Want to talk a little bit about some of the issues that are facing our community, and one of the most important, I think, is that of the fentanyl crisis. I'm sure everybody in our community has heard of this or may have even been impacted in some way. I would love to hear some updates from you in terms of what y'all are seeing. Is the community making any progress on this? Is this still as big of a problem as it was a year or two ago?
I don't think it's still a big problem. I don't think it's quite as big as it was 2 years ago, but it's a never-ending problem. Again, we talked about the multi-jurisdictional drug enforcement unit, again, working together, and we have, there was a number, several kilos, I believe, up in Clover. We did a bus with thousands of pills here, so it's easy to make. It's easy to get out there. So it's something that we're focused on. It's still, as far as the drug issue, it's kind of at the top of the list that we focus on. And drugs really in general, whether it's fentanyl or meth or even marijuana, that's drugs in general drives crime. It drives a lot of the violent crime, not all of it, but it also drives, heavily drives some of the property crime. In that. So again, we're fortunate that we're all working together, sharing information and doing that. But I think there is a little bit of hope if we can stop fentanyl from coming across the border and getting here. That is helpful. And I think that's probably why we see a little bit of a decline, but we still have a big issue. One of the things we didn't deal with a lot was overdoses all the time, but we're going to multiple overdoses a day. And our officers, I think all the agencies in York County have Narcan, carry it with them. And for us, I would say probably we average 3 a day that we're using Narcan. Now, we have the fire department, so they're there sometimes before us, or EMS. But again, it's a problem that I think we'll have for a while. But if we're not there investigating these cases and working with the solicitor's office and the feds to get some of these dealers prosecuted, it would be a lot worse. So we're not 100% eradicating it, but it would be a lot worse if we didn't put the priority on it that we do.
Sure, and I know there's been some efforts in Columbia this year to try to increase some of the penalties and punishments.
So there is a trafficking law that came out, I believe last year, and now there's another law that if the investigation, if we're able to get the right evidence, that we can charge a person with homicide if we can tie them back, or if there's a death and we can tie the fentanyl back to an individual. So that's just a crime enhancement that would help us if we were able to do that.
Sure, and I know with fentanyl, one of the scariest parts about it is how it can appear in so many different forms and appear to be something else. And you know, we've heard that there's also some newer substances that have made their way into the community, some sort of tranquilizers or something like that. Or
That's correct. We have carfentanil that's been here. There's other chemical altered substances that we have a hard time keeping up with. But fentanyl in general, you can make it, a lot of the pill presses make it look just like a regular pill that you would get from a pharmacy. But a lot of people also use it in combination with other drugs. Even if they're using heroin, if that's their drug of choice, they'll add fentanyl just to enhance that euphoria or that high. Again, any drug that you use, even going back to crack when it was big, the more you use it, that tolerance gets higher, and that's what we see in a lot of people who are overdosing. They're not trying to, thank goodness we don't have overdose deaths all the time. We have them, but I'm talking about just overdoses. But they're trying to add to increase that high, and again, not really trying to harm themselves that way. But again, that's a challenge.
Sure. Well, I know that Narcan has been crucial to minimizing the damage in the community.
Absolutely.
And that is much more widely available and accessible than it used to be.
Right,
Yeah.
and it does save lives.
That's great. As far as gang activity goes, have we seen any sort of uptick or any specifics relating to gang activity in the Rock Hill area?
We do. It kind of comes and goes, and our gang activity is not the nationwide gangs. So there's some of that in Charlotte and the larger cities. Ours are the neighborhood groups that associate with the Bloods, the Crips, the folks. But a lot of times they have different names and they're hard to keep up because they're always changing. But for the most part, those gangs kind of battle between each other. Shootings, some of the drive-by shootings. And it's not always over drugs. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it is, but sometimes, oh, you were talking to my girlfriend. I mean, It gets down to stuff like that. So that's one thing that we're constantly trying to stay ahead of and keep our intelligence up with the different, again, I have to say local gangs. I don't want people to think that, MS-13 and all these other national gangs are here. They're not. It is, again, local, younger high school to early 20s that are involved in that, but they can wreak havoc, and sometimes innocent people are caught kind of in the crossfire, so to speak. So we'll go periods and we won't have anything going on, and then we've had several different drive-by shootings in the last month. We've made 3 arrests recently. We got one guy outstanding. We had like 3 kind of back to back, and we were able to identify, work with citizens, and make the arrest. We still got 1 outstanding, but it is something also in law enforcement that we continue to have to stay on top of. And you can never kind of, all right, we got 2 months off and nothing's really going on. It's going to come back. So we try to stay up ahead of the game, so to speak, if we can.
Sure. Well, that's great, and kudos to you and your department for being so proactive. I mean, things move so rapidly and change so quickly nowadays. It's hard to keep up. We got one more segment coming up shortly with Chief Watts, and we'll be right back. Thank you for tuning in to Local Justice.
As soon as I contacted Elrod Pope, they handled everything. Without Elrod Pope's help, I'd have been paying hospital bills for years to come. Elrod Pope just took the stress and they put it on their table and took it off mine.
Coming to Elrod Pope, I didn't have to worry about anything. Everything was taken care of. It put me in a real calm state because I had someone on my side. I knew that I was in the right hands. It felt great.
At Palmetto Pride, we know we have a choice. The choice for a cleaner South Carolina. And it's the easy one at that. Don't litter. No grand gestures or heroic efforts here, but the outcome still has monumental impacts. When it comes to our state, every choice counts and every action matters. From the great outdoors to parks next door, from Main Street to your street. All it takes is a little bit of pride to keep South Carolina beautiful.
When a catastrophe hits, it can be a very stressful time for you. When you have trees on your house, when you have trees on your cars, and you don't know what to do, you call us.
We're not a 1-800 number, we're an 803 number. We've been in business for over 60 years because we take care of our clients. That means taking care of them during claim situations.
We're not 9 to 5, we're 24/7. We're gonna be there when you need us most. Gill Insurance, your local auto owner's agent. Understanding business is how we do business.
When it comes to prescription medications and health needs, Rock Hill residents have been turning to Good Pharmacy for over 50 years.
I've been coming to Good Pharmacy since we came to Rock Hill in 1984, and I would not change pharmacists for anything.
With their knowledgeable staff, you can always trust that your prescription will be filled with complete confidence and care for your health. Good Pharmacy, conveniently located at the corner of Ebenezer Road and Camden Avenue.
Welcome back to Local Justice. I'm Ben Leader, and we're here with Chief of Police Chris Watts today. Chief Watts, we're honored to have you on today. I want to talk a little bit about some of the accreditation that the police department's obtained here in Rock Hill. And could you tell us a little bit about what accreditation means both on a national and state level and where y'all stand right now?
First of all, we are nationally accredited through CALEA and also state accredited. So we're considered a dual accredited.
And that's pretty rare, isn't it?
Yes, it's kind of tough to keep both. But you know, once you get accredited, getting accreditation is a tough job, but it's harder after you get it. So we've been accredited since 2001. It used to be you were reaccredited through CALEA or the national accreditation every 3 years. Now it's every 4 years. We're on our 8th iteration. And through that time, we've gotten flagship agency accreditation with excellence. We're a gold standard now. But there's, I'm going to say, almost close to 500 different standards that everybody must follow for their policy. So Rock Hill, South Carolina, and California Highway Patrol, who is also nationally accredited, we have the same standards. Now, California is much different with state laws, liabilities, the equipment and technology they have, but we have to meet the same standards. So our policies look a little bit different, well, probably a lot different than California Highway Patrol, but still they have to be there that we meet all the same standards. One of the reasons is we do want to be putting ourselves and holding ourselves accountable, because this is volunteer, to be as professional as we can. So every month we have a meeting on our accreditation. Where are we? Because every year we're still evaluated on certain standards and policies that we have. But it does help when you could say our policy stands up to the best practices currently, especially specifically to South Carolina. But it holds us accountable, and that's part of it. A lot of times, any law enforcement agency can get involved with running the business of law enforcement and put policies way back, way down the list of things to do. This way it keeps it up in the forefront. And then when George Floyd, it helped us greatly there. When people were calling, do you have this, or we demand that you have that, we already have it. We can show you our policies. So it is helpful in that when we do things, we could fall back on, we're following a national standard. So it's very helpful all the way around.
That's right, and I know like having to meet every month on best practices and constantly revising and tweaking policies can get, you know, overwhelming and it not the most exciting activity, but it keeps y'all from being complacent. Y'all are constantly being proactive, and when these hot topic issues do hit the news, it's great to know that Rock Hill City has already addressed these issues via policy and training, and we're kind of ahead of the problem.
Absolutely. So it is, again, us holding ourselves accountable, but policy, even the standards changed. There were some standards that changed after George Floyd, and again, from a nationwide. But again, for the most part, that is the reason why we do it is, again, to try to provide the best services we can to the citizens we serve.
And as far as some of the future goals you have, you've been here a long time, but you're not going anywhere either. What are some of the things you'd like to see the department focus on or possibly do better on in the next year or two?
Well, I think it's a continuation on the fentanyl crisis and really work from a mental health standpoint and a drug standpoint, from a rehabilitation point. We cannot arrest our way out of any of these problems. It's somewhat of a societal problem that we are part of that, but we've got to keep working with our legislators, other civic groups to try to solve these problems. And again, that's kind of, as we go into the future, those are in the forefront of what we do every day, what we see and have to respond to. So if we could find ways to reduce that, then we've accomplished something, which is going to be a tall order to do.
That's great, and no department or person can do it alone,
No,
like you said.
okay.
It's going to take a
It takes
community
everybody.
effort.
Right,
you know,
absolutely.
From the citizens, from the legislators, from law
Mhm.
enforcement, from
Yeah.
everybody.
It's everybody working together.
That's right. Got a couple of rapid fire questions
right.
for you, just for the folks to get to know you a little bit better. Favorite lunch spot in town?
Ebenezer Grill.
Ebenezer Grill. That's
Comes
been,
to my mind
it's
at
been a
first. There's some
common,
good places.
common answer so
yeah,
far.
but that's a great place.
Although Mayor Geddes did get on me, said you can't ask a mayor that question. So
It's hard. Yeah, I don't want to offend anybody else, but
That's right.
that popped in my mind. There are a lot of great restaurants around Rock Hill.
Are you an early morning guy or a late night guy?
I don't like getting up early, and I don't like going to bed early. But I get up early. I'll say an early morning guy more.
Is there a favorite book or a mentor that you look to for just a certain quote or guidance that kind of drives your philosophy or your leadership style?
The number one person I have to say is my dad. He's kind of my hero, and I'm still fortunate to have him and my mom. But he was one of those, just a good guy, a Christian man, loved the Lord. But he to me he was a real man. So I have to give him a lot of credit. And I got 3 brothers, and we've all, I think the same way. So he's the guy that pops in my mind first. There are other good people also that I look at, listen to, and learn from. But he would probably be the number one.
That's great. Well, before we wrap up, I have to congratulate you on becoming a grandfather.
Oh, thank you.
Yep.
That's so cool.
Yeah, we're excited for you. That's great. Well, thank you for taking the time to join us today,
Awesome.
for providing some of your insights and your transparency into the department and where things are headed and some of the challenges we're facing. And most importantly, thank you for your almost 37 years of service for this community. We appreciate you and everything you and your officers do to keep us safe.
Thank you very much. Means a lot.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us, Chief Watts. That's it for another round of Local Justice, and we look forward to seeing you next time.
As soon as I contacted Elrod Pope, they handled everything. Without Elrod Pope's help, I'd have been paying hospital bills for years to come. Elrod Pope just took the stress and they put it on their table and took it off mine.
Coming to Elrod Pope, I didn't have to worry about anything. Everything was taken care of. It put me in a real calm state because I had someone on my side. I knew that I was in the right hands. It felt great.
Kidney disease is becoming more and more prevalent, especially with diabetes and hypertension. My training with kidney disease helps me to talk to patients and guide them through the steps that they can take, the changes that they can make into their lifestyles. And we have a dedicated team of providers, including dietitians and pharmacists that we work with to educate patients towards achieving that.
We know the type. You like to start early, finish late, make lemon squares, and make payments to the college fund from anywhere in the house. We know you rely on Comporium for the things you rely on most, like a view of the backyard. That's just a bunny, and hundreds of channels to watch, whenever you want. So you may think of us as just your internet company, but we're more like the I didn't know they could do all that company. Comporium, always ready.
From my first watch I purchased as a teenager, which still runs today, to the diamond ring I surprised my wife with, which she still talks about today. A gift from Norman Hagee is as good as it gets. Whether it's elegant timepieces by Bulova, Caravel, and Bel Air, or ornamental ironwork-inspired Southern Gates collection, or dazzling fine jewelry. A gift from Hagee is backed by over 60 years of family-owned and operated experience. Norman Hagee Jewelers, for gifts as good as it gets.